I want you to unpack a little bit this misconception that rich people don't pay taxes. What do they actually do?
That is the key. We all know that the wealthy, they don't pay taxes. When you think about taxes in America, the economy of the United States is managed through taxes. The tax code is made on the premise that it is that tool that is going to help build the economy of the United States. So the tax code is cued towards wealth building. You cannot avoid taxes. Taxes are unavoidable. Taxes are avoidable. The tax code allows you to avoid taxes. If you are paying $100,000 or more, you meet me, I'm going to save you that $100,000. I'll convert it to $1 million. In every year you have that 100,000 will be converted to $1 million.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back yet to another episode of You Are Enough podcast. I am your host here, Gustav B. Achu. It's a great honor to be with you today. I am honored, privileged, happy to have you join the podcast today to listen and watching. And by the way, if this is your first time, don't hesitate to click the subscription key, click the like button, and share this with other people. You know, one of the interesting things to understand is in America, we just finished through the tax season. Tax deadline was 15th of April. And one of the things that happens is about 30% of citizens of this country generally end up with a tax liability. Now, what is important to understand is that they don't only end up with a tax liability, but most of them fall behind on their tax payment. But what if I told you this could be avoided? Because other than people who are called tax preparers and tax filers, there is also a very critical pillar in that industry called the tax strategist. Today, I'm going to be talking to somebody who is one of them. The gentleman I'll be talking to today, by the time we finish this podcast, I advise you to pick up a pen and a piece of paper and take notes. Because by the time we finish this podcast, you would have received at least $10,000 worth of free consulting. This man is the founder and CEO of CHN Advisors, a premier tax strategy and wealth management firm. He has over 20 years experience. He's a CPA by training, a wealth coach, and a former director in PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is one of the top global tax strategy firms in the world. He has helped high-income earners, even middle-class and average income earners, legally reduce taxes and redirect those savings into real estate and strategic investments. He's originally from Cameroon. He's built a reputation as the number one go-to tax strategist in the state of Texas and by extension on every part of the United States. He's helped professionals, everyday working class people, entrepreneurs be able to legally reduce a big percentage of their tax liability, leading to savings and leading to reconversion of these savings into investments that build wealth in a long time. Please join me welcome my friend, one of the people I look up to, one of the brightest in his industry and generation, Honorable Charles Njoya. Honorable, how you doing today?
Excited to be with you, Gustav. It's always a pleasure when I meet you wherever we are. And I'm excited to be speaking on this podcast today. I feel excited. I feel fired up, and it's going to be exciting. Let's just go out there. I mean, I tell your wealth is there. We're going to talk about your wealth today. We're going to talk about your taxes. We're going to talk about how to build wealth in America, how to structure your estate in this country. I'm excited.
Hey, if you make good money but you're tired of living on autopilot, watching your income disappear every month with nothing substantial to show for, this is where you finally learn how to turn income into assets, assets into growth, and growth into long-term wealth. You see, most people never get there because they lack clarity and strategy. They earn, they spend, and they hope for growth. But hope alone is not a wealth building strategy. Because if you're tired of wondering where your money went each month, or frustrated that your investments are not working as hard for you as you would like them to work, then this is for you. The Wealth Clarity and Legacy Blueprint webinar should be your number one priority. You know why? Because you're going to get a clear picture of your finances. You're going to learn how to structure your money in such a way that growth and protection becomes a natural outcome of that investment. You are going to see how to start investing with very low capital and walk away with a 90-day wealth plan you can actually execute right now, not tomorrow, not next week. I will also get you some worksheets and you have access to the replay of that training so you are not rushed and can implement properly, because this takes a little bit of time. By the end of this 90-minute live session, you are going to walk away with clarity, control, and a practical roadmap to make your money work for you so you can stop guessing and start growing your wealth. If this makes sense to you, click the link in this video description. Save your seat, because there are very limited seats at the Wealth Clarity and Legacy Blueprint webinar, and start becoming the financially confident, in control, and growing version of yourself you've always aspired to be. Your clarity begins today, and you know what? Your legacy starts right now. So I will see you on the inside. One person here in America, can you just tell me how best they should approach their taxes?
First thing first, when you add the illustrations of the taxes and everything, it goes to 27,000 pages. So it's a huge, it's massive.
27,000 pages.
Yes, when you think about
that's like a master's degree course.
It's more than a master's degree course. So nobody can really stand here and say, I know everything in the tax code. No one. That's number one. Nobody knows it, because the tax code is constantly evolving and people are constantly analyzing the meaning of different parts of the tax code. The key, though, is when you look at the tax code, when you think about taxes in America, the economy of the United States is managed through taxes. Let me repeat. The economy of this country is run through the tax code. And one thing we need to know when we look at America, America is different from every other nation on planet Earth because it is particularly capitalist. It's a capitalist nation. You can't take America and try to compare with Cameroon. Take America and try to compare with Russia, with Canada, with any country. America is unique. And what is that uniqueness? The uniqueness is that America, the government, when you talk about the government of the United States, the government of the United States doesn't own much. It owns practically nothing. The government is structured in a way that they make the rules. We play the game. So the people play the game. Historically, yes, that is the game. I don't want to get into this because we'll ask you, I know we'll be talking about this, but the key is understanding that the tax code is a world building machine. Most people think that the tax code is there to make you pay taxes. It's a wealth building machine.
I like that you talk about the fact that the tax code is a wealth building machine, Mr. Njoya, especially because a lot of people, including myself, when I came to America for many years, I'm paying taxes. I'm grudgingly doing so, thinking to myself, you know what? I am paying all these taxes. The rich people are not paying taxes. They're making more money. They're squeezing to kill me to give them more money. And I started for a short period of time, was a little bit twisted to think the rich people, the tax code is in favor of the rich against me, the middle class or the poor. I want you to unpack a little bit this misconception that rich people don't pay taxes. What do they actually do?
That is the key. We all know that the wealthy, they don't pay taxes. But instead of us spending time to understand why do these people not pay taxes, we're spending time to go on social media and say, oh, this and be trying to as if they were the cause. They are not the cause. If there is something in this country, there's one tax code, just one. There are not two tax codes. But the way you interpret it and the way another person interprets it is completely different. And the way you think about it is completely different. Let me tell you something about the tax code. You know, the code is made by those guys sitting there in Washington, D.C. Who are those guys? The senators, the congressmen, the president of the United States. All those people there are put there by some capitalist, some 1%er. Why? Because these people go through a campaign process which is very, very rude and solid. And who sponsors them to go down there? Some top 1%. They call them CPACs. They call them the big whatsoever. These people, when I spend my money and I push Gustav to go to Washington and be a senator, I am the guy pushing him to go down there. When he goes down there, who is he working for? Is he working for the noisemakers or is working for the guy? He's working for the guy who's going to maintain him there. We are not talking about things, whether you like it, you don't like it, that's a system.
Mm-hmm.
So when these guys go to Washington, who do they work for? They are making sure that the person that put them there is okay because he spent his money
Right.
to put them. So the tax code is skewed towards wealth building. It's skewed towards the people who are supposed to be towards the wealthy. So when you, instead of complaining, if you cannot play the game. The tax code is structured in a way that when you understand the tax code and you structure according to the tax code, America depends on you and me to build America. America depends on you and me. Historically, people like you and me were brought here by force to come and build America. We were brought here by force. And when we came here, when we got here, we came and built America. We did all the work on the cotton farms and did all these things. And then it had to end. When it ended, do you think America stopped being built? No. There's another way of making America be built. So the top people, we are in Africa, we're working very hard, we're doing this. They say they want the best people. The best people come here because America is the best country in the world. You come to this country, they give you access to capital to go to the best schools. You come out of those best schools, guess what? The next thing you want to do is go to a workforce. You get to the workforce. Now you've acquired all the skills to be the best employee in the system. So you are basically, when you come to work that system, they tell you there are two things about the tax code. The tax code income pays a lot of taxes. Anything that uses effort. You come out of that school, you have to clock in and clock out. Go to Harvard, you come out, you have to go and clock in and clock out in something. Or you are creating something. When you do those things, you're building the economy. But anything that uses effort is going to pay a lot in taxes. And anything that is passive is making money for you. So wealth doesn't pay taxes. Income pays a lot of taxes. The higher you make income, the more taxes you will pay. So the guy who's making $500,000 a year, who's sitting somewhere maybe in Texas or in California, for example, he's paying out close to 50% of his income in taxes.
If he's making that through a W-2 income.
If he's making that through a W-2, but also even if he's making that through business, but he's not structured, the key is in structure. The key is in structure. Because even your W-2 has ways of avoiding these taxes if you structure properly and you start doing certain things that the tax code wants you to do. Build the economy, real estate, invest in your retirement. Make sure you're building. I mean, America doesn't build America doesn't build real estate. America doesn't build affordable housing. America, even the roads, they need people to help them in building. All this construction, the things that are going. The government, once you are building, helping build the economy, the government gives you all sorts of tax benefits. You have tax deductions, you have tax credits, you have opportunity zones, you have Section 179, you have 1031 exchanges, you have all sorts of things. Short-term rental loophole, all these things are available to you, but people don't use them. People don't understand them. 99% of CPAs have not read a page of the tax code. I will repeat, 99%. I just told you it's more than almost 27,000. They have not read it.
Wow. Mr. Njoya, this is mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing, especially because in the last 5 minutes, you've thrown a lot of information at me and certainly at my viewers and part of our community here. But I want us to unpack this, right? Somebody who lives in America today, you're making $100,000 a year. Because one of the things I don't want people to live with is to think that Mr. Njoya is only focused on the richest of the rich. Yes, you have top clients who make $3-4 million a year. And as well as the fact that you are always a community guy. You're a guy who came from very humble beginnings and you've never forgotten that. So you serve even people who make under $100,000 a year. For a gentleman or a lady, family of 3 who make $100,000 a year, for example, just W-2 income, just give some strategies, nothing too detailed, of course, but some strategies by which they can also be able to benefit from the tax code of this country.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, that's a great question. If you made $100,000. You have to start from somewhere. That $100,000 is going to make you pay taxes for maybe $30,000 or $40,000, $30,000, maybe less. Because the other thing about taxes is that many people don't have a tax problem. Many people don't have a tax problem. If you are making $50,000 a year, your taxes are still very small. You don't have a real tax problem because you end up basically your tax is still very small, especially for married couples. You make 100,000, your tax is about 20,000. It's still a big chunk for you. Tax
It's
becomes a problem when you start making a lot of money, real money. There are three
correct.
stages to making wealth. Three stages. Number one is income generation. If you don't generate income, you cannot build wealth. And once you generate income, you get to the second stage, which is now asset accumulation. Because once you make that $100,000, guess what? You want to buy that house, you want to buy that car, you want to buy these things. Most of us buy liabilities. We acquire additional expenses rather than buying assets. That's where the trouble is. And if you structure and have the right assets, then you now get into the third stage, which is how do I protect this? Because asset protection is one of the biggest problems in America. America is the most litigious country in the world. So if you tell me about a person, you make $100,000. The tax code says if you if you made that from W2, both of you, the first thing you want to do, all of us here, we all know that real estate is one of the biggest places of storing wealth. We
Fact.
all grew knowing that real estate would store wealth. Let's talk about real estate. You take that $100,000 that you made. Okay, you're going to, $100,000 is your income. Your taxes about maybe 30, 20, 25, $30,000. What do? You remove money from there. Let's say you can afford, you must have had some savings. You decide I want to buy real estate because both of you and your spouse, you don't qualify as real estate professionals. You decide that I want to buy a short-term rental. You go and buy a short-term rental for say $300,000 or $400,000. Let's say you bought a property for $400,000. 30% of that property as a short-term rental, if you qualify, 30% of that property, which you buy, when you buy that property for $400,000, that is called an asset for you. You bought it with other people's money. The down payment, maybe 10% of that property, you put down $40,000 to buy that property. But you got a $400,000 property. You put it as a short-term rental. The tax code allows you basically now to be able to take that property that you bought with other people's money, cost segregate it, and you can write up to 30%. What is 30% of $400,000?
That's about
That's
that's
about
120,000.
120. So basically, this $120,000, you can write it immediately against your ordinary income of $100,000. It means that your taxable income is zero. You leverage other people's money, acquired an asset that makes you richer. It's going to make you income for the future because wealth is in assets. That's an asset. You bought it with the capital market of the United States, but because you structured correctly, that initial property you just bought gave you a write-off of $120,000.
So you ended up now with the taxes.
So you ended up now, instead of paying taxes, you have tax credit. You have excess taxes that you are going to carry to the next year. You're paying zero in taxes because you got wealthier using the capital market of America.
I think, Mr. Njoya, this is a brilliant illustration of the power of this thing because you just answered the next question I had in mind to ask you. A lot of people always hear the rich pay zero taxes. That's how they end up paying zero taxes.
Yes.
That is how they end up not paying
carry forward
anything,
losses to use next year.
and move forward with it. That is
and what is even more important is that you didn't deplete your ability to access capital because that is called depreciation. Depreciation, when you go next year, you can now, that depreciation, when you go to the bank to get a loan to buy the next thing next year, that depreciation is added back to your taxable, to your income. So it is called EBITDA that they are looking for. Earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So that depreciation that made your income become zero on the tax return, they add it back and your income still shows $100,000 so that you can acquire the next property.
Mr. Joya, I want us to take a step back here. All right. I think what people are seeing today, speaking on this platform, on this podcast today, is the Rolls Royce version of Mr. Charles Njoya. I want us to step back to that young man out of Cameroon. I want you to walk my guests through where you came from and how you got to where you are today.
Look, I don't sit here to think that I'm different from anybody.
Fact,
We
yes.
all come from where we came from. There are many of us whose backgrounds are far. I mean, I grew up in a family of seven. And in Africa, we don't grow up and say we are in a family of seven. We grow up in a community.
Yes,
So everybody is in your home. I know your own home. Everybody could come to the home. It's a family of
absolutely.
everybody. So
Fact.
I grew up with my uncle as a kid, as one of the many kids in the house. And I went through school, did everything just like I came out of University of Boya. When we graduated, Boya is a small state. For those who don't know Cameroon, it's a small city in Cameroon that hosts. I mean, it has a university, the first English-speaking university. When I
Correct.
graduated from University of Boya, I was lucky enough to be picked up by PwC. Then PwC was not hiring anybody who was trained in Cameroon. I was the first person to join PwC work who was trained there in Cameroon. Luckily for me, 2 years down the line within PwC, I relocated. They transferred me to the UK. And that's where the game all started. We were in the UK.
Mhm.
I learned I was working in the oil and gas. I was in Aberdeen. I spent time in Aberdeen, went back to Africa, and I was in charge. I was basically roving across Africa within PwC, and I worked like that for 8 more years. 8 years.
PricewaterhouseCoopers there.
PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yeah.
We worked across Africa, working mainly in the oil and gas space, helping all these large companies reporting to the US, reporting to the UK. That was our job, helping them structure, helping them make sure that they are. I mean, all the things that we're just talking about. Then I in 2010, I moved to the United States. Continued with PwC, worked with PwC for 2 years, and then I left PwC. So we started our own business. That is my story. So I come from a very small beginning, but PwC gave it all to me because every
Correct.
time I walked through PwC and I learned how to structure for the big boys, how to
Correct.
structure for the large companies, how to
Yeah.
structure for individuals who are affluent, and that is the game we want to play. Everybody who wants affluence has to play the game of the affluent.
Awesome, awesome. And Mr. Joy, I love that. I love that because this is a pure example of what is possible, right? And I just want you, because I have a majority of the people who watch my platform, who watch my podcast, they are between the ages of 25 to about 45 years old. And it is important for me each time I bring a guest, one of the things I want them to see through that guest is the mindset that brought them from where they are, where they started to where they are today, right? Because it is said what? Motivation does not necessarily come from knowing where you are going, but mostly from knowing that you no longer want to be where you are anymore.
Absolutely.
Tell me about
Absolutely.
the tell me about the mindset that drove you from a young man out of University of Boya with the first opportunity in PwC to realize that you are a global asset and you are not just a small player.
You
I
know,
want
you
that
know,
mindset.
you know, our biggest thing, and I know you talk a lot about mindset. There's nothing bigger than mindset. There's
Yes.
nothing. There's nothing. You have to decide. Everything has to be intentional. It doesn't come by design. And for
Mhm.
those who know me, I didn't just walk into PwC because I was
Correct.
like any student who just walked into PwC. I did not. I went to PwC because I already worked my ground with when I was in the university. For those who know me, they know what I'm talking about. So you have to, when you're working, wherever you are, you have to start thinking of where do you want to go? What is your apple? What
Yeah.
is your apple? Once you determine, I was coming from a very small family. Our problem was always about, oh, we are not able to eat, we are not able to do this. Poverty was around everywhere. And for me, I didn't want to be associated to poverty. No,
Yes.
zero. I don't want it. And so even when I went to University of Boya, For those who know me, we created something called the University of Boya Accounting Association. I was president of the university. That was our child. What did we say? I told people that, look, we have to make the world of accounting and taxes in this country know that we exist. Every person in America needs accountants. We are the first batch of accountants being trained in the universities in Cameroon. Let's do this. We created University of Boya Accounting Association, and by the time, and this is important, I'm saying it to young people. When people go through school and they are very quiet, they think it's a virtue. It's not. Yeah. You have to know where you're going to and start working towards within groupings to be able to make that happen. So what did we do? We contacted we went to ONECA, the National Institute of Chartered Accountants in Cameroon. We obtained the list of all chartered accounting firms in Cameroon. Every person who was a chartered accountant. We wrote to all of them to inform them that we are the first set of university students being trained as accountant in Cameroon. We wrote to them. All the other companies, brasseries, all these other companies, we wrote letters to them. And what did we do? We also were very vocal. I was in FM Sanseng every day talking. That was when FM Sanseng just started. The Moise Bank, all these guys. I was every day talking about our association. And what did that do for us? When we launched the association, all those guys, we created symposia in the University of Boya, all those big names, Christian Mu, all the Suki Martin, all these big boys who were then the big boys of the industry, they were coming to university to come and speak to us. And how did they know us? Talent. So they knew us. By the time we graduated from university, we had about 70 students who were going for internship in all these places because 70. We had made ourselves almost 70.
Wow.
70 because we made ourselves known. And Charles, what did Charles do? Charles had the right to select because he had spearheaded all these things. And that's how I find myself.
I love that. I love that. You kept the apple. You know, Mr. Njoya, I love the way you talk about some of those things. Because if there is one thing we need today, especially in our young people, is to reignite that fire in them. That hunger, that desire to realize that we are not going to compete on the global stage with mediocrity. We cannot compete on the global stage with the perception to only think it's man no man, or if I don't know this. No. What do you bring to the marketplace? Absolutely. What is the product you bring? What is the skill you bring? What is the work ethic? Mr. Njoya, you've had a chance to work for this top company.
One small thing just before you get there.
Yeah.
When the other thing that happened is that when you go to an environment like that, I'm coming from the University of Boya where we didn't even know how to use computers. We were studying, we were not using anything. What did I do? I had to look for money. I used to sell shoes when I was in the university. I was selling female shoes.
No doubt you're always well dressed. Look at him. look at the tax strategist today. The man looks like a top notch. And like he's
what do I do? I took all my money when people are graduated and gone home. I stayed in the university for 2 months doing only IT, only computers, learning that computer. And when it came to time for me to go to PwC, I went there already.
You're ready. You knew what?
2 years, 2 years down the line, they are looking for the best people to send them to Europe to go and train. Who did they come from? The first name was Charles Njoya. We want that guy to go to UK. And that was all about me. It changed my whole trajectory to today. So if you are a young person, you have to know your apple. Once you select your apple, many people tell us that, hey, do what you like, do what you love, because this is every time you do what you love, you are in comfort zone. You are in comfort zone. Comfort zone doesn't help anybody. You have to work hard to get to where you want to go. And it is nothing about comfort. Comfort zone means that you want to sleep. My family, people, my daughter always wants to sleep. Is that the thing that's what she loves. Should I encourage her to do that? No. Mm-hmm. So you have to go out of your comfort zone to get to your thing. That's how I got to the UK. Before you know it, my growth in PwC, for those who know, it was astronomical. I grew like a mushroom. Because I was pushing my way to get to the place where I want.
And you're preparing for that.
When we are in the United States, We should understand that this is the most affluent country in the world. We cannot limit ourselves here. If anybody has made it, I too can make it. If somebody is building a skyscrapers down there, this economy, the effort you make to build a 2-story building is the same effort you make to build a skyscrapers using other people's money. We just need to get
Mr. Njoya,
we just need to clearly understand what we're looking for.
how it works.
And then look for it and then start working towards it. It will happen.
Man, this is and I hope everyone is taking some notes. I hope you are really finding some value in this, because this is advice that usually Mr. Njoya charges for. But Mr. Njoya, here we are today talking to you about some of these critical things, right? You've been able to travel over 40 countries in the world. You've covered Africa, America, parts of Asia, Europe, and all these different. You've worked for top companies in the oil and gas industry, in different industries. I just want you to quickly give us what are some of the 3 key leadership capabilities that a young man listening or a young lady listening to you right now should immediately start investing and working on if they haven't started working on yet. That will serve them no matter what industry they go, no matter what direction they want to take their life, no matter what kind of work they want to dedicate themselves to. Just give me 3 of them.
The first thing I always tell people is that you want to identify what you want to achieve. You need to be clear. You need to be clear on where you want to go. I mean, I am not saying that you need to know exactly that I want to be this, but you need to know what you don't like. I don't like poverty. I want to be wealthy. It means that if you decide that I want to be wealthy, it means that the number one thing you need to do is look at what wealthy people are doing and have a mentor. You can have a proper mentor. Mentorship is critical. Number 2, you have to read books. You have to read how the other people, if you want to read book about wealth, read. There are so many books out there that you have to read. We don't read. And we believe that we know it all. If you know it all and you cannot read
and learn from others.
You are broken. The third thing is you have to learn how to listen. Listen.
Be teachable.
Listen. If you cannot listen, you cannot do nothing. Listening is so important. When I went to PwC, I'm talking about me. And when I talk about me, I'm not making. There are people who have far better careers than I have. But when I went to PwC, I met superstars. Superstars. Some of these boys are superstars. I met people like the Elias Pungong, Suki Martin, all these they were superstars. What do? You bend down and then you say, guys, I want to learn. Everything they say, you listen. You learn from them. And these are the guys who are going to lift you up. You don't go into someone's area, into someone's jurisdiction, and you become the boss. You want to become the boss. You are going to be broken overnight. When you go to somewhere and you see this is the place I want to be in, your only thing to do is to be humble and listen and learn. Because once you learn from those guys, those are the guys who are going to. I mean, God doesn't come down to create to lift anybody to do anything. You use people to lift you to take you to where you want to go. When this thing came about people going to Europe, my parents would never have sent me to Europe. They couldn't afford it. I would never have gone to anywhere. My entry to PwC is not because I had any brother or any uncle who had anything. It's because I pushed myself towards the thing I wanted to do. Yeah. And then when I got there and I knew this is the place I want to be, my next thing was I put my head down, I listened and I worked hard. Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you some things that are critical. Mm-hmm. When I came to PwC, one thing is that University of Boya used to graduate many students, but we had challenges. We go to the market and then we're struggling. Correct. I go to a firm, we go to do an audit, or we go on to work for a client, and then I struggle. They give me all the information. I just gather them. I just gather documents. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do some of these things. I go back the whole night. I'm not sleeping. I am not sleeping. I am learning from everywhere I can learn. I got books. I did this. And then most importantly, there was a guy. I actually was taking my salary from PwC. And mm-hmm. I was paying him half my salary to teach me how to become the best person. So every time I took a job in the night, we would sit there, we would study. And I knew exactly what to do the following day. Mm-hmm. And that's how I became I became what I became. And then they realized that this guy is good enough to be chosen to be sent to somewhere. And that changed your life. So listening is key. Respect, humility. And then you have to read. You have to read.
Hey guys, just a brief break from regular programming. You see, most human beings, if you really go deep into their heart's desire, they want three things. They want to live a life of growth and development in order to be relevant. They want to be able to build wealth and also leave behind a legacy that will last for perpetuity. In my Guarantee Your Legacy program, which is a custom designed program, I answer these three questions and more for you. I have limited availability on that program. It's an 8-week program whereby we meet once a week one-on-one with me. In addition to that, I'll walk through the different critical things that you need to be able to grow as a person, to be able to become relevant, to be able to impact people in order to create a legacy. And in doing that, you can also build wealth. If you already have it, I can teach you how to protect it, preserve it, so that way it lasts for perpetuity. Don't hesitate. If you would like to learn more about that program, click on the link down in the description section of this video, and I sure will see you on the inside. Let's go back to the regular program. Oh, Mr. Njoya, I think you're just breaking down some things that I really believe is life transformational.
Yes.
You talked here about the determination, the desire to find solutions, go back home, work on it. You know, it's very important because especially in the times we live today, because the biggest tragedy, I believe, for most people is never going to be the obstacles that is in their way to achieve their highest goals and ambitions in life. It's going to be their lack of determination to scale those obstacles and their willingness to lower their ambition to meet a goal that is lesser than their intended goal, but which is inconsequential.
Yes.
That is the true tragedy.
Yes.
I really believe.
The person who was teaching me when I was in PwC was working in a very small firm. He wasn't earning my salary as a young man in PwC. I didn't care. I just knew that he knew better than I do. And I would take my salary and break it into half and give it to him and tell him, hey, take this money, and then I want you to teach me. When I come in the evening with all the things that we are done, Camp Sheep, all these places, I bring them. I say, viens. He comes and sits down. He tells me, this is what you do when you're looking at furniture. This is what you do when you're doing this. Because the guys in the office, when you get into corporate, everybody's a shark. They don't want you. They are not there to help you succeed.
Absolutely.
Everybody is there to show that, to kill you, to make sure that this guy doesn't know. I know everything. So you take everything. You go. When I come back in the morning, my eyes are all red because I have not slept the whole night. But what do? It gives me the ability that when we're talking, I can talk.
Absolutely.
I can tell them, no, it is wrong. This is how we do it. And that's how they saw me. They thought I was a magician. But there was no magic. It's just because I was so determined to get to where I wanted to go.
Mr. Njoya, let's unpack that a little bit. There is so much in what you just said. Let's break it down step by step. The first thing, as a young man, you start making money in PricewaterhouseCoopers. The first thing is that you are humble enough to recognize that you don't know it all. That's one. The second thing is that you are willing to pay the price for the prize.
Yes.
That is the second part. The third thing is that you are not greedy to think that having somebody teach you for half your salary is too much, because you most likely were thinking that I have 40, 50 years in this career. I'm barely 25 years old. If I have 50 years and I have to pay somebody my 1 year salary, I still have 49 years to be an expert and excellent. Is that too much of a price? The reason I bring that up is because today a lot of people don't understand what value is. People look at everything in life from the perspective of price. For example, after this podcast, a lot of people are going to reach out to you. And when you tell them, hey, my consulting fee just to have a conversation with me is X amount of money, maybe $2,000. Their first thinking is going to be, oh, that's too much. Okay, I have to pay Mr. Njoya another $20,000 to help me structure my. But listen, if somebody is going to help you save $150,000, what is $20,000 for fees?
Absolutely.
And I say so because our people have to understand how to start looking at these things, right? Recently, I was called upon to help some two associations to raise funds for them. And when I send them the bill, they have to pay me as the MC for the fundraisers. A few people were complaining. But one of the guys who understood how to think about these things told them, listen, Mr. Achu is going to come here to raise us $100,000 in less than 1 hour time.
Yes.
If we're going to pay him $7,000, $8,000 that's just 8%. We would normally raise 40,000 by ourselves. So if he's going to help us raise an additional 60,000, if we're going to pay him 8% of that 60,000, what's the deal? That's how we have to think, right? And that's why I like all the things you've already put forward so far. But let me ask you this, Mr. Njoya. You talk, and I want us to come back again to the US tax code and how it is a wealth builder. Because today we talk about generational wealth in isolation of some of the things that can help people. I want you to take a few minutes and break down why the tax code is the wealth code.
The tax code is made on the premise that it is that tool that is going to help build the economy of the United States. That's very important. It is that tool that is going to help build the economy of the United States. And building the economy means that when we are structuring the tax code, when they are structuring the tax code, it should be in a way that it incentivizes people to do what the government wants you to do. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you cannot do those things, guess what? You get penalized with a tax so that the government can help do those things. Very important. The tax code is aimed at building the United States of America. Now, the government wants you to do renewable energy. It wants people to have maybe go away from all these things that has to do with traditional energy that's coming from oil and gas and things like that, from fossil fuel. Because they know that this is a mega trend. We have to go, because they know that fossil fuels are what? They are all depletable. They are going to be finished at some point. Whether it's in year 1 million, it's going to disappear. And when it disappears, the United States is now dependent on what? If we are all dependent only on something that is going to be finished, guess what? We are going to disappear. The world as it stands today is going to disappear. So we start planning today, we start talking about renewable energy. So when they talk about renewable energy, who is going to make that happen? It's you and I. They want people to start going away from reliance on fossil fuel and start getting renewable energy. So what do? They start giving incentives for you to do it. If the government doesn't give me an incentive to hire employees here, why will I hire them? Why do I hire them?
No point.
I don't hire them. So the incentive is, if you do this, I will give you this tax credit. When you use an electric car.
That's why they were giving the tax credits for Teslas and electric cars.
Absolutely. When you use an electric car, they give you a $7,000 because you're using an electric car. When you use an electric car, that asset, you structure it correctly, you can use that as an asset and depreciate it and write it off. When you put solar panels on your home, let me tell you, if you structure your solar panels correctly in America, you will be able to write off up to 70, or you will be able to get a tax refund on the price. The government pays up to 78% of that panel that you used. 78.
What an opportunity.
78. We don't know. People don't know. And the way people buy solar panels, they just go and buy it, put it on their house. The government gives them 30%. 30% is the incentive for you structuring that way. But if you came to me and said, Charles, structure it for me, the government will give you 78%.
Wow.
Of the value of it. So you only pay 22% of that thing.
Wow.
So this is why the tax code is there to incentivize people. If you have a business, they tell you collect all the taxes from those people who are working for you in the form of W-2 taxes. When you collect all of that, you are giving it to the government. It gives you all sorts of incentives not to pay your own tax.
Because you are doing the government's job of
because you are helping the government.
To give it employment.
When you are building, let me tell you, the number one thing that the government is constantly looking every month, the number one statistics is labor statistics. Yeah. Every month, the government is looking what happened to employment today, to labor. But the government only employs how many? They employ 1.7% of the working population. 1.7. So who is going to employ the remaining number? You and me. And if the government doesn't incentivize me to employ those people, why would I do it? I don't do it. The government, 1.7 is just people in the military and a few people in Washington, D.C. And if you look at what is happening today in Washington, D.C., they are saying that 1.7% is a lot. They want to reduce it. Doge is sending all them away because they want to bring it to less than 1%. But they expect all these people to work. They have to work for you and I. That is the thing that the tax code does. The tax code is there to incentivize you. If you are buying the property I just told you about, short-term rental, we save that person all his taxes. If you did that, the government now gives you incentive in the form of a short-term rental loophole, in the form of real estate professional, in the form of this, in the form of that. There's so many things. The tax code is a wealth building machine.
Wow. Mr. Njoya, that's beautiful. Talk to me about this. There is something I've always thought about, and I believe a lot of people listening to us today are asking themselves that question. They're having this internal conversation, right? Why should I forego a tax preparer, a tax filer, to work with a tax strategist like you? What is the difference between those two categories of tax professionals?
Yeah, this is very important. That question you asked there is,
Yes.
I mean, people even say I'm a tax strategist. The tax strategist himself can only do so much. So much. The guy who is that guy who is a tax preparer. The tax preparer, when I went to school to become a CPA, you know what I was taught, what I learned? I learned how to basically help people pay taxes.
Okay.
I learned how to make people comply with the law.
Okay.
Nobody told me that. All the things I'm talking today, nobody told me that. The CPA knows how to make you comply with paying your taxes. Okay, you made 100,000. The tax code says because you are paying this, you are in this tax bracket, this is how much you have to pay. Pay it, otherwise you get a penalty. They say you have to pay it by deadline. That's fine. Deadlines are great. But if I know that I can save you $1 million or I can save you all your taxes by the time you get to file your taxes, deadline is not really what is preoccupying me. My key is to make sure that how do I make you save all that money that you were supposed to pay in taxes? How do we structure you in the best way so that we can avoid this thing? What is a tax strategist? A tax strategist is that person who works with you strategically, looking forward about how the first thing when a person comes to me, where do you want to be in 10 years? Is the first thing.
Yes.
I want to see whether you qualify to be somebody that we can work with, because if tax is a problem to you, then yes, you have a problem. I can solve that. I can structure you. A CPA will help you pay taxes. A strategist will help you, show you how you can save on taxes.
Legally.
But you need to have a strategy firm with different people who are able to implement what the strategist is saying. Because I cannot, for example, there are so many things that I can tell you, if you do this, you're going to save on taxes. But I don't have the license to do them. So I need another person. So if you came to my firm, you would see real estate professionals, real estate consultants. You would see loan officers within my firm. You would see attorneys within my firm, because they're the ones who are going to implement the structure we're talking about. You will see financial advisors on the investment side. They're going to take you to the stock market and play with certain type of things in the stock market. You would see financial advisors on the insurance side. That's one of the biggest buckets of wealth building, just like the investment in the stock market. You would see financial advisors on the retirement side. They will structure you, because one of the places where we all put our money, for most of us, they tell us that, oh, you get a job, you get that high-paying job, and then you pay your taxes. And then the other thing that will happen to you is that your retirement, you're going to be putting money in some 401k, and that 401k will help you take care of you when you retire. What they don't tell you, what they don't tell you is that 401k, you're putting your money, they take that money, they give it to some, they call it you give it to some Vanguard,
one
Vanguard,
of the top investment
or one
companies.
of those people,
Mm-hmm.
they have all your money and they are investing it and making wealth for themselves. And you are getting 1%, 2%, 3%. And then
3%.
at times they tell you that, oh, the market was back, it's gone down because it's sitting there. What they don't tell
Correct.
you is that you can self-direct that money according to the tax code. The tax code says that
Mm-hmm.
when if you get $100,000 of your money sitting in some 401k and somebody is using that money for 40, 50, for 30 years while you're working,
Mm-hmm.
it is a disaster for you. Disaster. It's a big disaster. If you took that $100,000, you self-directed it. That's a process that available to you. No employer will tell you. You take that 100,000, you self-direct it. You can now leverage other people's money. That
Mm-hmm.
$100,000 will become $1 million in asset that's sitting there. That's called your 401k. It is just converted from 100,000 to $1 million. And who is paying for that debt that is there? The people who are using the asset. That's called capitalism. That's the power of capital.
Oh, Mr. Joya, this is a masterclass, guys, and I hope you're finding value in this masterclass. This is exactly what we do on this platform. On the You Are Enough podcast, we strive to help people, teach them how to grow to become their best as a person, how to learn how to invest in assets for profits and long-term wealth, and how to build a lasting legacy. If you're contemplating on how to stay connected to our community, down in the description of this video, you will see a link. Click on that link. You'll be able to join our exclusive newsletter community. And in that newsletter community, we share private information only exclusively to the members about certain key things that can transform your life completely. And of course, by the end of this podcast, I'll also provide information to you on how you can contact Mr. Njoya if you need help with planning, strategizing on your taxes for sure. But Mr. Njoya, one of the important things you talked about here and you've been talking about is structuring. One of the things I noticed, especially looking at the African immigrant community, which is one of my primary focus here in America, because we come from Africa, we are intelligent people, we are smart, we are good-looking people, we are hard-working people, the hardest working people you can ever see. Why aren't we great yet? What are some of the things that we need to do to structure our lives and our finances so that we can really take advantage of the American system? Talk to me about some of those things.
You touched it a few minutes ago. We don't know how to leverage. We just don't know how to leverage.
Wow.
We
What
don't know
is
how to
leverage?
leverage. Leverage means ability to know that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that person knows more than me. And I want to use that person to help me do what I don't know. That's what we don't know. We believe that we are shoe menders. We believe that we are hairdressers. We believe that we are tax preparers. We believe that we are tax strategists. We are everything, but we are nothing. The ability to understand that that person knows more than me and I have to use that person. That is number one. But the problem comes in another thing that you touched. The concept of cost versus value.
Yeah.
People in our communities, we have never grown in a community which is information driven.
Yeah.
America is an information driven society.
Very true.
If you don't have information, you are nothing. And most of our people, they live all their lives. That's why you come to our communities. If you meet a shoe mender in our community in America, you will likely become a shoe mender and all of you will become the shoe menders. We want to help, but we can only help through what we know.
Fact.
Most of our
Fact.
communities people are doing the same thing because we
Fact.
don't know how to leverage. Because they will tell you, if you have to meet an attorney, they'll tell you, oh, that's too expensive. Some people, you have to meet Charles. Oh, Charles is too expensive. You want to meet the right people who can help you. They have a price, costs. We are used to doing what? Everything we look at is how much does it cost? Cost is the driver.
Not how much it brings to me.
We don't have any concept of value.
Yes. Yeah.
We want to get value at no cost for free. We want to get
Doesn't
value.
work like that.
America is capitalism. If you don't pay me, I will not be able to pay my mortgage. I'm out of my home. I'm living in the streets with my kids. In this country, we might know many people will come there and think, oh, Gustav is the one doing that course. I'll just go and meet my brother. He can teach me these things. That's not the way it works. Value has a price. Yes. You know, you know me. We all put a lot of money to to where we want to go.
In fact,
Because we pay for mentorship. We
yeah.
pay for everything we do. If you go and meet that guy on the streets, you're making $500,000. You go out doing your taxes for $200 or for $500. Why do you expect more than $500 in there? You're basically burying your future.
Very true.
You're
Very true.
burying your future in the hands of somebody who knows, who learned how to do taxes for 2 weeks. You just buried your future in there.
Yeah. And you're
So
making
that,
so
and then
much.
you're
Yet you
making so
find
much
paying two,
instead
three
of getting the
$3,000
right people who
as
can
high.
help you
Yeah.
build wealth. Wealth needs
Yeah.
people. I just told you the team that we have here. We have
Yeah.
attorneys. We have financial advisors on the insurance, on the retirement, and on the investment side. We have real estate brokers. We have lenders. We have all these CPAs. All these people who are seated here. They don't sit here to be eating donuts. That's why they give extraordinary value. If you are paying $100,000 or more, you meet me, I'm going to save you that $100,000. I'll convert it to $1 million. In every year, you have that 100,000 will be converted to $1 million. That is my commitment to my people.
Awesome. And Mr. Njoya, I like the fact that you make some of those really bold statements. And the reason I say so is because other communities in America are leveraging these things. Other communities are building astronomically, right? There is a Jewish tradition. It is wrapped around a Yiddish word called fagging. I like to talk about this a lot, especially when it comes to our African immigrant community, not only in America, in Canada, in different parts of the world. We have to understand this thing and really understand how it works. What does fagging say? Fagging is a Yiddish word that seeks to propagate the notion within the Jewish community that when a Jewish person has a business, it is the responsibility of the community to support and invest in that business until the business becomes excellent and great. What it means is, if today a young person, or when you opened your consultancy in 2010, it was still certainly a smaller consultancy. It is the responsibility of brothers and sisters within our community to continue to invest and use your services until you become excellent. What that means is they will go through growing pains. There will be a period where the customer service is not perfect. There will be a period where there might be a few misses, but they still continue to invest until the company becomes great. And when I look at that concept of fagging, I see it in the way Jewish community has built the most massive businesses around the world. There's no question the Jews are the richest in the world. A company like Uber for 13 years never made a single dollar in profits.
Yes.
But somebody kept cutting them a check for 13 years till they finally made profits. Facebook never made profits for over 15 years. Somebody kept investing. But in our communities, you try to invest with somebody, you try to support somebody's business, they make a mistake, or maybe the customer service is not perfect. The first thing we do, we go start publicizing it on Facebook, we go start castigating them and going to give our money to somebody else. We need to understand that, yes, we don't want to be discriminatory or racist, but community economics works. There is a statistic that says an average dollar in the Chinese community spends about 32 days before it leaves. In the North Indian community, it spends about 40-something days. In the Black community, it spends 6 hours. How can we ever have power? How can we ever have influence? So I love what you're saying, and I hope people watching us today are learning, because I'm learning a lot. This is my notepad. I've been writing like crazy, guys. It's no joke. When I have people like Mr. Njoya on the platform, because of the relationship I have with him, he can come sit here and give us a 2-hour masterclass free. Let's take advantage. Hey guys, have you been wondering how you could chat with me one-on-one just to talk on your aspirations, your career, your business, and the things you might dream about with your life and you would really like to do with your life? I know it's been a challenge because a lot of people have been sending me inbox messages, asking me questions and asking me how they could get to me. That has been answered for you. I've created a one-on-one program where you can actually book a time. You look in the link in the description. You can book a time and have a one-on-one conversation with me for 30 minutes for a very small fee. If you look down in the description of this video, you will find that information, and go ahead and book a time and let's have a conversation. Mr. Njoya, a lot of people, immigrants, especially in this country, we have gotten to the point where we understand that it's important to have businesses. It's not it's not mutually exclusive. You can still be working your 9 to 5 and you can own a business. But based on your experience, what are some of the biggest tax mistakes that people starting businesses make, and how can they correct that?
Yes, I mean, that's a great question. Number
Mm-hmm.
one, when you start a business in America is not like a business anywhere in the world. Starting a business just means you have somebody who's buying and you're selling to him. For 90% of businesses, you don't start a business by I want to go to the Secretary of State to make some paperwork, to do this, to do that, to do that. Those are things that are not necessary. You can do all the LLCs and put in your pocket in the world. That is no business unless there's a willing buyer and a seller. Many
Fact.
people create companies and create LLCs and just put them, and they're moving around the street and say, there's no company if there's no buyer and a seller. That's the reason of a business. That's number one. It is you make money from that business, and then now you use the money that's created by that business to structure the business. That's very important.
Powerful counsel.
Very important.
The business
Number
has
two,
to prove that it can work.
yes, you don't create something that doesn't work.
And
It has
nobody
to work
buys.
first, and then it starts making money. When it makes money, then now you can say, okay, let me structure it, because now this thing doesn't look like, it looks like a business. We all in our community before, Charles, I want to start business. What do I want to create? I don't need your LLC. Go, what is the business? Has it made money? Are you making money? If you're not making money, go make money. That's what I tell people. Go and make the money. Then you show me, then we structure the business for you. That's number one. Number two, when you are already doing business in America and it's already making money, one of the big things we don't know is when do we move from what we call
A single owner LLC.
single owner LLC to an S corp. We don't know when.
Yeah.
We don't know what that means. We are making money. I see people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars, and those are going to their tax return on a Schedule C. It means that when you make that money, you make $200,000, you are going to pay your normal tax. Your normal tax as somebody who made $200,000. But there's another tax called self-employment tax, 15.3%. That's going to be applied to that to that money that you made. There's a limitation to it of 165 or something like that. It means that you are going to pay, before you even think about everything, you're paying 0.15.3. 25,245 is a tax that you're going to pay in addition to your normal tax, just because you did not
of 30-something%.
Yes. That's
so you're already down about 50,
you're only down. This is
of your
money
income.
you can avoid this just by one single tweak, electing an S corp at the right time. Number three, there is something that people do out there that we don't know how to structure it. Employ your kids in your business. Employ your family members. The tax code, if you read on the IRS website, it tells you one of the biggest benefits of owning a business is the ability to employ family members. People don't read that and just pass it. They don't understand what it means. You know what they call trust fund babies? Children who are born, they didn't do nothing. Their parents, by the time they're retiring, they have 10 million, 20 million in their bank account because the parents were doing small business like you and I, and they structured and made the child start working in that business at the age of 7.
Wow.
By the time that child gets to 59 and a half, which is time for retirement, his Roth IRA account has over $10 million inside. Just because they did something basic things to do.
And almost tax-free.
Tax-free. It's Roth IRA. All is tax-free. While your own money in 401k is paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in taxes, that is money is tax-free. Number 4, I can talk to tomorrow. Number 4, there is something called Augusta rule. If you don't know it, go and search it. You can use it and wipe off a large amount of your taxes year in and year out. If you need more, talk to me.
Mr. Njoya, I enjoyed the way you present the things, and I really like the fact that we're having this conversation.
Yes.
Because a lot of us immigrants, especially African immigrants in this country, we don't realize that working hard by the number of hours you put in is not a direct result of how wealthy and successful you're going to become. I used to think that way until I got to understand that it's never about the amount of hours you physically work. It is about number one, the amount of value you bring, and number two, understanding how to leverage this tax code to make you richer. And you are one of the people who really helped me clarify that. I have to give you credit for that. You are the one I had an idea, but you really gave me clarity on how powerful the tax code is. That's why today I'm a big believer. That's why today I believe that there is no higher price to pay than to be able to leverage the benefits that the tax code can provide to you, especially because you can leverage it over years like
Absolutely.
all the rich people have done. Now,
Absolutely.
I want you to talk to us a little bit about what do you think are some of the struggles that immigrants have when it comes to building sustainable wealth, and how can they resolve those struggles?
Number one is our mindset.
Okay.
Our mindsets are very small. We don't think beyond our mindset. You just said something there that was critical. You said something that was very, very critical. We came from a place that is this small.
Mm-hmm.
We are now in the largest economy in the world that the world has ever seen. And we have that mindset that is this small. The second thing you said was, you talked about the Jewish community. We are very quick to judge our brothers when they start something. We
Dismiss.
kill it. We kill it with our mouths. We just kill it. That's people. Nobody will come on this platform and say this was an amazing show. We talked about things. People are very quick. The day you make the error, that is
Going to
what
happen,
the
of
whole
course.
world, the world knows about our things that are wrong more than everything we have done right for the last 10 years. It's going to be broken by one person who came to you, and then you make one mistake. Mistakes are done everywhere. The other guy who is not in our community will make the same mistakes, and then we will tolerate it. In our communities, we cannot tolerate ourselves because there is that inner thing that gives us that bad comparison where we're trying to compare the negative way. Instead of pushing our people up, we are quick to break them down. That's our problem.
Wow.
Our problem, our mindset is already completely shattered. We need to completely reborn our mindsets and get the mindset of somebody who wants to build. If you associate yourself with 4 smart people, you become the 5th.
Fact.
If you associate with 4 greedy people, you become the 5th.
Fact.
If you have the ear of sitting every time, when you are seated, what you should be working on are those things, because the first thing I always tell you, determine your apple. Once you determine your apple, everything around your life should be, how do I get around that apple? Even when you're watching things on Facebook, you're only watching those things that will give you that, because the system, the algorithm of Facebook will give you what they know that you are interested in.
Yes.
If you're interested in women who are dancing, every time you open Facebook, it's coming. Only women who are dancing. Every time.
And I think, Mr. Joya, not to intercept, but I think you make a good point there,
Yes.
especially because a lot of times people don't realize that the poor like to be entertained, but the rich and successful love to be educated.
Absolutely.
I had a podcast the other day with a gentleman, smart guy out of Nigeria, and he said something very powerful. He said, go to your Facebook or your Instagram, exactly what you're saying. Click on the search button. The things that come up in your search automatically, before you type anything to search, know that those are the things you've been watching the most. And look at those things and see if they're going to help you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. So that is critical. We have to go back to our table, in our own bedrooms, in our own quiet things, in our own quiet living rooms, and say, what is my mindset? Like the guy really said, you can look at your history, look at the things that you've been doing, and say, how am I supporting my community? How am I helping build this thing? How am I connecting to the right people? If you don't have your apple, identify your apple and start working towards your apple. You will see that it will be gravitating towards that. There's a
Yeah.
book, there's a movie I read. I mean, I'm a very strong Christian in my church. I'm very active. And
Mhm.
when you talk about the power of prayer, you go back to your prayer room, sit down there,
Oh,
and
War
then
Room. That's the name of that
reorganize in
movie.
your war room.
War
Go back
Room.
to your
That's a
war room.
powerful movie. Yes.
Go back to your war room.
Yes.
Sit there and ask yourself what is going on. Review yourself, and then you start the right thing you have to do. It is never late in America. Never.
Yes.
It is
That's
never
true.
late.
I
Never
agree.
late in America. You can start again and start again and start again and start again. This is the only place where you fall, you can wake up 10 times. And there's one time, I mean, you talk about something which is called people have to be very, very what? Oh, you have to push into doing the same thing. Whether you fall, you wake up, you fall, you wake up, you're still there. You have to be
Consistent.
consistent. You have to be
Yes.
consistent.
Yeah. Consistent.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
As long as that thing that you're trying to do is getting you to your apple, keep
Yeah.
doing the consistency, but only tweak it. There might be things you learn every time you fall and you're going there. It is important that we do that. Our community needs to change our mindsets. We come
Mhm.
here, you were building one bedroom in your country. You come here, people are building skyscrapers. Your focus is just on that one bedroom. And anybody who builds a skyscraper, that man has done something wrong. That man has done
Mhm.
this. We have to change our mindsets and start thinking like we are in the place where we don't have any limit. If
Correct.
somebody, if somebody has done it, you
Mhm.
too can do it. We can
Correct.
do it. We have a lot
Correct.
of wealthy people, but our wealth has ended somewhere. We could have multiplied that wealth 10 times. We will get very excited very quickly and we stop there. That's our problem.
Oh, Mr. Njoya, I think you hit some very critical things. You hit some really key things. And I think when I think back at it too, right, I think one of the big challenges that has really held people back, especially from the mindset perspective, is also the fact that in the communities we come from, where we grew up, a lot of parts in Africa, wealth is being chastised.
Yes.
Wealth is being looked
Yes.
upon as a bad thing. As
Yes.
you know, rich people, they always have this perception. People always, the common man has this perception about rich people, like they made their money through some evil way.
Yes.
They are
Yes.
very stingy. They don't care about people. They want to amass everything for themselves. But understanding what I understand now, there is no way you can build wealth without a certain amount of frugality,
Absolutely.
without a certain amount of being able to postpone present enjoyment for future gains, without the ability to say, you know what, for right now, this is what I'm going to focus on, and I'll stay out of distraction from other things. I want you to talk a little bit about those disciplines that it takes. As somebody who has not only built reasonably good success for himself, but has helped other people too through your practice, what are some of those key disciplines that are needed to build success, wealth, and prosperity?
The number one thing is you want to understand wherever you go on planet Earth, no matter how smart you are, once you enter a place, any place, you have to try to understand how the place works. If you don't understand how the place works, and you are the Einstein who is coming there, you're going to be killed. You're going to be killed. Go anywhere. The first thing is how do you even understand how the system works if you don't meet with the right people?
Correct.
If you don't read books about understanding how the system works, if you are
Mhm.
not able to educate yourself about, you understand what you're looking for, and you have to identify who are the people who are winning in that game that you're looking for, and then you get learning, you train from those people. There are mentors in this country that don't know their mentees, but they
Yes.
are their mentors.
That's true.
They
Many,
don't know their mentees,
many.
but
I
they
have
are
a
their
lot of
mentors.
mentors who might not know me personally, but I look up to
Absolutely.
them. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Some
you
of them are.
identify because you want to do those things. And then now, when you are doing those things, now you will learn from him because he's going to teach you how those things work. You want to
Right.
see, you spend every time you have a minute. Instead of watching all those things, you're looking at those things that are making you to become the person you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important that you understand the system. You get the right
Mm-hmm.
mentors. And then
Mm-hmm.
also work with the people who know how to do the things. If you are making money, you can make $10 million a year, every year in America. The day you retire, because we get so excited with income. In our communities, we live on income. That's why when we retire, retirement is a killer machine for us. When we retire, we die. So if you are making income, I am telling you that income is not wealth. So the next thing that should come to your mind is, what is wealth?
Absolutely.
What is wealth? Wealth is in assets. What are assets? How do I acquire those assets? You acquire assets in the United States by leveraging other people's money. The next question is, what is other people's money? The American society that we live in has the largest capital market on planet Earth. Nobody comes close.
True.
So you are in America, and that capital market is what we call other people's money. It means that the government, the Fed, is regulating the interest rates every day to make sure that you and I can access capital in the market to do the things that will give us assets and make us wealthy. So now you have to understand how the capital markets work. What do I need to access that money? Is the next thing you want to understand. I need to show that I have the ability to pay, and I need to show that I have the willingness to pay. How do I show that I have the ability to pay? Your tax return. How do I show that I have the ability to pay? Your tax return is properly structured. Because when you want to access other people's money in America, the first thing they are going to ask you is 2 years of your tax return. That's how you bought your house. That's how you buy investments, especially as a starter. Then how do I show that I have the willingness to pay? Your pattern of paying your bills. How do you do that? Then now, if there's a problem through this channel that I just said, you fix it, you're going to get to wealth.
Your pattern of payment, that's your credit report, I believe.
Your credit reporting.
Yes.
If you can make 10 million and you've not been paying your bills, you are a bad payer. Nobody wants you because your ability nobody wants you.
Correct. Mr. Njoya, I like the way you put those things, because these are things that a lot of times we talk about it in parties, at barbecues. People talk about it frivolously in places, but they don't really realize that it's not enough to talk about it. It's more important to implement it. And all of you who've been listening to us thus far, taking notes, let me tell you, I would rather you don't listen than to listen and take notes and you go back home and you don't implement something. Yeah. You have to implement something you've learned from this podcast to start changing your life. It's of no use to just be a receptacle for information. You know what really changes your life? It's not only information, but it's action backed by information. That's why it's going to be important for you to look down in the description of this video and click the link to be able to join our You Are Enough Circle community, where we'll be able to expose you to people like Mr. Njoya, expose you to professionals around taxes, around legal, building wills, building trust. I'm going to have Mr. Njoya on another day for another podcast session where we're exclusively going to talk only about wills, about trust, about protection of your wealth and of your assets. And when I talk about this, I don't want you to sit out there and think you must be a millionaire first before you think about wills and trust. It applies to everybody. As you might know, if you don't know already in this country, when you die, if you don't have a trust, what happens to your assets? It goes to probate. And when it goes to probate, the government appoints a lawyer who doesn't know you as a person, who doesn't care about you and your family, to go through a legal process before releasing your money. That is a big challenge. You must have heard Mr. Njoya talk about things like trust fund babies. These are things that are real. Don't try to do it by yourself. You don't have the expertise. Yeah. Look for people who know how to do it. Focus on what your strength is. So, Mr. Njoya, we hear a lot about the American dream. What is your American dream?
The American.
What is your American dream?
We have been talking about American dream all through this podcast.
We haven't even got
talking
into
about
that.
American dream. The
That's right.
American dream. The American dream. Everybody has their own American dream.
That's right.
They come
That's
to
true.
America. The American dream, I tell people the American dream you're looking for is in the tax code.
Yeah.
The American dream you're looking for is in the tax code. Now, some CPA has told you that, hey, the taxes is, you cannot avoid taxes. Taxes are unavoidable. Taxes are avoidable. The tax code allows you to avoid taxes.
Legally too.
Legally.
Yes.
And America is the place where I don't want to talk about America always, but I think America is the place that gives you the biggest platform to build your dream. But to build that dream, most people in our community believe that the dream is in coming here, going to Harvard, going to Yale, going to the best schools, coming there with the biggest certificate. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I was in La Jolla in a hall filled with about how many hundreds of people. All these people were dermatologists who were making millions and millions of dollars. They were all there. These people are making a lot of money. Most of them believe that that's their American dream because now they're living in La Jolla. La Jolla is one of the best, the most wealthy place in America.
Where is that? California?
It's in California. Yes, La Jolla.
Okay.
Yes, one of the most wealthy places in America. They live there. They are making millions of dollars a month, per year in their income. But guess what? Their tax bill is taking crazy away from them. And you look at, when you are making high income, you look at what you have created over the years, you think, okay, you're going to do this. But you are being used to living at maybe $3 million a year, $5 million a year, all these millions of dollars a year. That's where you're used to. If you don't structure to be able, because when you become retired in America at the age
That
of
money is no longer coming in.
you are going to live another 30 years. 30 years is a long, long time. Long time. It is. You were used to living here, and then now you're not getting no money. You did not structure, and you gave half of that money to Uncle Sam for the last 20, 30 years. That is a disaster to your wealth building. So basically, income is not wealth. Our income, most of these people who go to the best schools, which is a great thing to do, remember, the wealth building comes from the first stage is what? Income generation.
Income generation.
So you generate income because you've gone through technical schools, you learn things, you've become an expert in something. So somebody is paying you a large amount of money. That money now, when it comes to you, it's called operating activity income. Called active income. Active income will pay all that money. Half of it will go to taxes. You're paying the bills. You are called the middle class, the guy who is doing everything. But now, for you to go to that next step, to start building your economy, you now have to structure that money. Number one, to avoid paying the biggest bill you have is taxes. Let me tell you, for high income earners, they pay about 60% of their income in taxes. 60. You know why? Because personal income taxes account for high income earners in some state. It's about how much, up to 40%, 45% in taxes.
Correct.
In California, it's almost 50%.
State and federal, correct.
State and federal. Then when you live there, everything you buy in a superstore, there's a tax on it.
Sales tax.
Every time you pay your property, your house, there's a tax on it.
Property taxes.
Your car is a tax on it. You buy anything, there's a tax on it. When you add all of those, you are paying about 60% of your income in taxes. You are a white-collar slave. It's called white-collar slavery.
That's true.
And if you don't look at your income statement and decide that, hey, it is time for me to stop this madness, and then start converting that money into assets, using other people's money, following the trajectory I just gave you now, if you don't realize, once you realize that, and then you start converting every year on our program, people are buying one property every year. Why? Because they are buying it with their tax savings. And remember, I told you that the cost sec allows you to be able to show to the capital market that I am not broke, even though I did not pay a dime in taxes. My taxable income is zero, but my income, my capital, my access to capital shows that I made $200,000. That now I have the ability to pay. Now I can buy the assets every year, keep buying assets every year. And that makes you retire early. That is the American dream. That is the
Mr. Njoya, man, listen. One of the things that has always intrigued me in this country, in America, and I've had the privilege from the time I came to America, I went to some of the best schools. I'm one of those. I went to the University of California in Berkeley, pursued certificate programs in marketing and international business. I finished from Berkeley. I immediately went back to build a business in Africa along with my uncle. And in that process, I worked in Cameroon, Gabon, Congo, Central Africa, and Nigeria, opening new markets. Now, one of the things I realized living in America over the last 2 decades is that almost every community in America, the Jewish community, the German, Europeans, Asian, they always have their anchor in their countries of original heritage.
yes.
And they leverage the power of America for their benefit, but also to impact their countries of original heritage. That has been a little bit of a challenge for most Africans. Now we've graduated from the point where granted, the African community in America is a relatively newer immigrant community relative to other communities that have been here for 80, 90 years, right? But now we have been privileged that we now have expanded to the point where, number one, the income levels have changed. Today, we have a lot more African immigrants in higher earning professions, doctors, nurse practitioners, CRNAs, lawyers. Today, we have African immigrants like you who are running top notch tax strategy firms, things that we only could see in different communities, right? Now we are starting to build wealth. We are starting to make a lot of money, right? I want you to talk to how can we leverage these things to impact our continent of birth, because we as immigrants have to serve as a bridge to develop our continent of birth. I want you to talk to those people back on the continent and why we must partner with them.
This is so important. And I will, this would be my last bus stop. And it's a very important bus stop. So the key thing, what is more important, what is very important is that, we have been thinking backwards. When we came to, most 19% of us have thought backwards over the years. We came to this country, and then we go to those schools, we come out of those schools, we start working in the system, and then now we start thinking, we start investing, building hotels in Cameroon, building this in this, building that in that, and we're doing some great things back home. But the funniest, the part that I don't agree with, I agree with all of those things. The part I don't agree with is that when you start, you don't start by investing in Africa, in Cameroon, unless you are in certain specific industries. You don't start by investing in Africa. And I'll tell you why.
I agree.
I have a lot of clients who are with me, who invested, who built hospitals in Nigeria, who built this in Nigeria. I mean, they can, even in Cameroon, who built hospitals. You take $500,000, you go and build a wonderful hotel in Cameroon. You don't know the occupancy of the hotel. The income in that hotel is in a currency that you cannot take to next door. You cannot take that currency from Cameroon and spend it in Nigeria. You cannot do nothing with it. And then it is the currency that's most likely to be devalued. It is the currency that has no value. You cannot work in hard currency and invest in shit. That is, let me repeat. You cannot work an income in hard currency and invest in shit. When you work in hard currency, if you took that money that you built that hotel in Africa with, and then you leverage that money here, that $500,000 or even $200,000 here, you will have access to assets worth $2 million. You have access to assets worth, if you put $500,000, worth $5 million. And that $5 million will create you a system where you are not paying taxes going forward. You're getting a constant source of income that will basically take you leave. And if that company, if that property, you got tired of that property, just the appreciation of that property will make you have an asset of sell it for maybe 5, 10, for maybe 3 times the price, 2 times the price. That hotel that you built in Cameroon, in some places that we built them, regardless of where it is, in America, you can convert that money overnight. If you want that money today, you get it today. Go to the financial institution and give you the money today.
So how then do you impact
my whole idea is that You invest, you make the money that gives you wealth in America, and then you take that wealth now and then do things. You cannot live here and expect to live in America on income that's coming from Africa in a lower currency.
Okay,
That's
I
my
see.
idea.
So
My
the idea.
idea is that
Mhm,
you make the money here. That same money that you send to Africa to build
mhm,
that hotel, which is giving you money in African currency, which you cannot convert and live with here comfortably. If you took
mhm,
that money and invested here, the money, only the income and the appreciation. Compare the appreciation of an asset sitting in Houston, Texas, in the city
mhm.
center, to an asset that's sitting in Yaoundé in the city center. There's
So
no comparison. There's no comparison.
Mr. Njoya, if I understand you well, so it gives you a double advantage in the sense that
Here,
you have an asset here that still
yes,
keeps generating appreciation, still keeps generating revenue for you. You can
absolutely.
leverage that asset, maybe take some equity out of it, and then invest
And
now in
then buy
Africa.
10 hotels. That same
But your
hotel that you would buy
capital
in
here
Cameroon, you
hasn't
can buy
changed,
10 of those hotels in Cameroon with that one asset that you invested here as a
and
first.
the asset still exists here and it's still
It still
generating.
exists.
I think I like
Go
that
and
thinking.
get that hotel in Cameroon, and then you go to the bank. You will stay in the hotel with the bank for 1 year. You will not get $100,000 that you are trying to borrow from the bank. In
Okay.
America, when you have equity in an asset, that equity, you can call the bank sitting in your home and the money is put in your bank account.
So you are saying, therefore, that for the African diasporans in America, don't invest your income or capital from America. Invest returns on your capital or appreciation of your income in
In
Africa.
Africa, yes.
Invest the
Build wealth
capital
here
here
and
and then
take
use
the
the
return on
appreciation
that
and the
investment,
returns
and then
and invest. It
knowing
makes
that
sense to
if you
me.
lose value in that country, you have a place to fall. You cannot sit here and be living and expecting that the income that's from there will make. When the money
Okay.
goes down, I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
I
Build
totally
the
agree
wealth in
with
this
you.
country and then take the returns and do whatever you want to do. When it fails, you come back here, you have a place to fall on.
I
Because this,
watched I watched a program on the Chinese community in New York,
yes,
in America, but they
yes,
own a bank. It's a subset of the Chinese community. They own a bank in New York, which
yes,
lends money to Chinese and things like that. That is when I was exposed to this idea, and it makes sense.
it makes
Invest
so
in
much.
the assets here, build revenue through those assets here, the appreciation of the assets, the revenue coming from the assets, the income from the assets. Use that now as capital in the other markets
Go,
because you
yes.
have security and you now can double leverage yourself, even quadruple leverage yourself. I think that makes sense, Mr. Njoya. I know you are burned for time, but I beg you for just a few minutes. I have two questions for you.
Yes.
The first one, what does purpose mean to you?
Purpose is everything. Purpose is everything. Purpose is not about money. Purpose is something that is bigger than you.
Yes.
It is something that is bigger than you. I mean, we all have a purpose, but we have to identify that our purpose, that
Yeah.
thing, what is that thing that will make you tick?
Yes.
That makes me tick. When you talk about purpose to me, first of all, where I come from a community where I think I owe an obligation to that community. I have an obligation towards that community, and I want to leave a legacy in my
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yes.
I want to leave a legacy in my lifetime. I want to leave something that my children and other people. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. You know, Amazon,
Yes.
Amazon, Amazon. The market capitalization of Amazon is almost $2 trillion. $2
Correct.
trillion. $2 trillion.
Trillion. That is
$2
huge.
trillion.
Yeah.
Now, the owner of Amazon is worth $200 billion. What does that mean? That means that that man has created wealth
Yeah.
for $1.8 trillion to other people.
People. I
That
like
is,
that you bring that up. I
that is
like that.
powerful.
Yeah.
That is powerful.
Yes. Mr.
In our
Njoya,
communities, we can do
hang on a
this.
second. Hang on.
Yes, I have
You
to.
bring something very powerful by what you just said,
Yes.
right? And it got me thinking because the statistics tell us that 90% of Black-owned businesses in America are single-person-owned businesses. We don't have a lot of Black corporations,
We don't.
right? Now, think about it this way. Jeff Bezos, who is the guy who is the founder and chairman and former chairman of Amazon, he retired, right?
Yes.
If he is worth 200 billion, which is just so, which means he technically just owns only 10% of that
10%
company,
of the
which
value
means
he has
he
created,
has
of the
created.
value he has created for the
Which means,
community.
therefore, for him to get that 10%, he had to create value for other people. He had to partner with other people, which means, therefore, that in him getting a value of 200 billion as his worth, he probably has created thousands of millionaires and
He
hundreds of other
created
billionaires.
$1.8 trillion for other people.
So, what can the Black community do, especially the African immigrant community, to understand and leverage that concept to, instead of building small businesses of a one-person business, you struggling to create relevance, build partnerships that can build massive corporations? How can we do that?
You know what? Um, the companies, you know why we work crazy? We don't have time to rest because we don't grow people in our company, in our communities, in our companies to replicate us. We are not creating value to replicate us. Microsoft market capitalization is $3 trillion. $3 trillion.
Crazy. Crazy.
$3 trillion. Microsoft. And Microsoft, the person who founded Microsoft, he owns 1% of Microsoft today. 1%. 1%. So who owns Microsoft? The world.
You and me. Yeah.
The world owns Microsoft. Because he was able to understand that he doesn't mean anything. You bring the best people and give them value. You bring the best people in and then you give them a piece of the pie. Let's grow together. They put all their energy to build that thing and then we're growing together. That's why we work so hard. We don't have time for breaks because we are not bringing anybody who has value to be able to get that time. We have to, the biggest thing we have, the biggest value, the biggest thing we can have as an asset is time. We don't have time. We have to create time. And you create time by pushing your time to other people, delegating to other people and giving them value. If you bring the best people, if I brought the best person to come and work with me in this firm here, and I don't give him the value that he deserves, guess what? He's not going to stay one day. And he has to see that my vision is bigger than his vision. If my vision doesn't align with his vision, he cannot stay here for one day.
Very true. He has to see what is in it.
So those are the things we have to learn from and start building things that go beyond here. Most of our businesses are here. They don't go beyond here because you want to be the own person who owns everything. And businesses that are here, if you are the sole person, by the time you retire, the business is dying with you.
Dying with you. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Mr. Njoya, man, you know, as I'm sure we still have about 4 different podcasts we have to do by the time this year runs out. But any final words from you, sir?
I want to thank everybody who's been here listening. I want to thank you I was at your book launch and Gustav, you don't stop amazing me. You're an amazing Cameroonian.
Wow.
You're amazing African. And the way I see you moving every day, the passion, the grit that you have about winning, about making these things and also giving to the community, it is amazing. And I want to thank you for all those great things that you keep doing. Bringing people to educate them. Tell people about what we can do as well. How we can build these things as well. I mean, it is something that I just want to say. Keep going. That was the first book. Because those are amazing things. That one book can make you become anything in the United States. Anything. That is what you call assets that don't have. I mean, we read Shakespeare today, and then Shakespeare was dead how many years ago? The value that's been created on this is because you created something. Thank you. Kudos. And I want to thank everybody on this platform. We'll have more of these type of discussions because I know you're already creating so much of these discussions. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Mr. Njoya. Ben, I thank you certainly for giving us the opportunity to have you. But anybody who stayed so far, who is watching us to this point, I want to congratulate you for investing in your vision, investing in your destiny, and investing in your legacy. You see, on this platform, we are committed to teach people how to build themselves to become the better version of themselves, how to invest in themselves for growth, to invest in assets for profits and wealth building, and to invest in building a lasting impact and legacy. I might not know you as a person. I might not even have the chance to meet you physically, but I'm grateful that the joy of technology has brought us together. But I want to remind you Just like Mr. Njoya said today, we all come from different backgrounds, with different struggles, with different tragedies that might have happened, with different challenges that we might have faced, with even different struggles that might have defined our lives and tried to write our story differently. I want to remind you that even if somebody spoke upon your life that you might not be enough, that they might have convinced your mind to believe that you are not smart, you are not capable, you are not able to win in this life. I want to remind you that you are enough, that you are capable, that you are intelligent, that you are able to win. The only thing you need to do is to make a decision first that you don't longer like where you are and want to move to somewhere which is where you deserve to be. The second thing is to pay attention to people like Mr. Njoya and the guests I bring on this platform and platforms like this that seek to give you information that you can leverage to change your life. And the third most important thing, take action towards that and believe in yourself. Until the next time, you be well, be blessed, and by all means, never stop being a blessing to somebody. This has been Gustav B. Yachu on the You Are Enough podcast. And I'll see you at the top.